returns tonight to make his first start since early April as the Buccos take on the Milwaukee Brewers in Game 3 of their 4-game series. The Pirates finally solved the Brew Crew last night, winning the nightcap. After losing the opening game of the doubleheader, the Pirates came back, had that big 7-run 7th inning. Greg Brown along with Steve Blass. Everything really worked out nicely for the Pirates in terms of that win, Steve, of course, and the starters doing well in both cases. Jeff Karstens in Game 1, of course. But tonight, the big story is Ross Ollendorf.
It really is. April 8th, he has been out since then. So you really don't know what to expect. You don't know what you're going to get. I don't think he's on any particular pitch count because he's been pitching lots of innings in his rehab starts, but very rusty at the major league level. We hope the best for him.
Just 2 starts at the big league level in Chicago, April the 3rd, and then here at PNC Park back on April the 8th, he calls out the training staff and Clint Hurdle. Shoulder discomfort, lands him on the DL. He's been out all that time. As Steve said, though, of course, he was making some starts down in the minor leagues, so we'll see what the Pirates can get out of him. Meanwhile, they've been getting a lot of offense out of 2 guys in particular recently, Jose Tabata and Ryan Doumit. But Tabata's been a man on a mission.
He has been absolutely on fire. He's just about on every pitch he sees, Greg, and you just hope he can ride this for as long as he possibly can because he's hitting the ball well. He's hitting the opposite field. He's waiting very nicely. Ryan Doumit, almost as hot. He has been really hitting the ball well, and he's been getting some distance, not only making contact, but he's been hitting the ball over the fence. So you love to see that because the Pirates were so stale offensively, but last night, boy, they really got it together and had themselves a huge inning.
PNC Bank for the Achiever in You, our PNC Achievement. Talking about Tabata, who now has an 8-game hitting streak, and for the last 7 games, Doumit 9 for 26. Steve talking about the long balls, and so good stuff offensively from those 2 in particular. The Pirates looking to put the complete package together tonight as the Buccos get ready to take on the Brewers, with Ross Ollendorf making his first start since April the 8th. The Buccos and the Brewers are next.
Sports is sponsored by Barrel Automotive. Barrel.com. Definitely worth the click. and by PNC. For the achiever in you, let's go Bucks!
It's another beautiful night for baseball, and it is Ross Ohlendorf making his return, making just his third start of this season. And he will face this Brewers lineup: Corey Hart, Nyjer Morgan, Ryan Braun, 1-2-3. Prince Fielder hits cleanup. Casey McGee will follow. Then Yuniesky Betancourt, the shortstop. Jerry Hairston Jr. at second base. Jonathan Lucroy is the catcher. Marco Estrada makes his second start of the season against Pittsburgh.
And Corey Hart will lead off for the Brew Crew. Ross Ohlendorf. There'll be a lot of things going on inside him right now. He's usually a very composed young man, 29-year-old right-hander. But what is it? One win and how long? I mean, one win last year, nothing this year.
Yep.
I mean, you got to go way, way back to when he was dealing the way he wanted to be dealing. So it's been a rough stretch. Mentally, a very tough stretch for a very bright guy, but regardless of what your IQ is, it's been a long time, and it's got to be real strained.
It's the defense behind him. It's Tabata McCutcheon Paul in the outfield, left to right. Harrison and Jones on the corners. Daniel Walker up the middle. Domit does the catching for Ohlendorf.
Who has done well against the Brewers. 4 starts, 2-2 with a good ERA. Last worked 8 days ago against Louisville, AAA game. And in that game, 7 innings, 6 hits, a couple of runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So here he is, Ross Ohlendorf, back on the mound for the first time since April 8th.
Sharply hit ground ball by Corey Hart. We're underway. Corey Hart started the second game last night, the second pitch, with his 19th home run of the season. Certainly an inauspicious start for Brad Lincoln, but he recovered after giving up a base hit to Nyjer Morgan and then shut down the Brewers the rest of the way. And here is Morgan, who was 1 for 8 in the twin bill yesterday.
Could Corey Hart be one of the larger leadoff men in the league?
Yep.
6'6", about 235. He's a horse.
And he'll go every so often. He has stolen 4 in 10 attempts.
As I remember about Ross Ohlendorf, for a big man, he's above average quick to first base.
And very accurate over there too. Those throws usually right at the bag.
And that makes the difference. You can be real quick, but if the throw is high, they can't get the tag down quick enough.
Morgan hits this ball into the seats right side.
Nyjer Morgan will polarize you. If he's on your team, jumping around and doing all the stuff he does, you love it. If he is on another team against you, you're not quite so happy about it.
T. Plush, his alter ego. And that has become very popular in Milwaukee. He's become very popular in Milwaukee. The Brewers, how popular are they? They're going to top 3 million. They've got their biggest division lead in their history.
And they're on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Out today on newsstands. They're on the cover. 1-1 the count on Nyjer Morgan. He and Braun and Fielder are featured on the cover of SI. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ohlendorf's last victory, Steve was mentioning, it's been a while. July of last year against the Philadelphia Phillies.
And that was his only one last year. A couple of no decisions these first 2 early starts, and the injury occurred here against the Colorado Rockies in the 3rd inning.
Pay attention to Corey Hart. Talk about how big Hart is. And Ohlendorf, a big horse, hoping to throw a lot of innings this year. Coming off his 1-11 season, which was abbreviated as well. Checked in the dirt. They'll appeal it. A quick appeal. No, says Joe West.
Take a look. The appeal denied.
Sam Holbrook, the home plate umpire, asking for help. Looked like even before Doman had asked. 2-2 the count. And right to the shortstop. Quick throw to first and not in time. Cedeno to Jones. Hart got back.
Yep, Jones trying to buy the call as Garrett kind of came away from first base to get the ball, trying to sell that optical illusion to throw from Ronnie. A little bit of an early departure, trying to get the call.
So Morgan lines out to Cedeno. The throw to Jones just a bit late. So Ohlendorf will have to face Ryan Braun with Hart aboard. Braun 1 for 12 in his career against Ohlendorf.
Ross very concerned about Corey Hart.
Ohlendorf is making his 5th start of his career against the Brewers. 2-2, a 3 ERA lifetime versus the Milwaukee Brewers. Ohlendorf. A fly ball to left field and over. To make the catch is Tabata.
Couldn't quite get the big part of the bat on that ball. Look, strike zone presented by Range Resources. He got in far enough where Ryan couldn't get the hands in quick enough, so really not that power swing. Got a little bit of it. In fact, just enough to make it carry out to Tabata.
Tabata starting in left field as Ludwig gets the night off, and Xavier Paul out in right field. Prince Fielder 0 for 8 in the doubleheader last night. Did pick up his 99th RBI thanks to a ground ball that brought in a run, and you see the shift. Cedeno stays at that shortstop position. Third baseman Harrison swung over to the right side of second with Neil Walker playing a shallow right. There's Josh Harrison. Jones holding Hart aboard. 0-1 on Fielder. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
A couple of fastballs, one in the strike zone, one inside, crowding Prince Fielder. Ross gave up a couple of home runs in those 2 early starts. First one against the Cubs and then the Rockies.
One ball, 2 strikes on Fielder. We mentioned that he went 0 for 8 combined in the doubleheader yesterday, and Ryan Braun held to 1 hit. That was a home run late in game 1. That is shutting down the big boys.
Quite a tandem right there. See if we can stay out of the strike zone and get Mr. Fielder to chase something borderline. Going to come back inside again with a breaking ball. Good try, down and in. Most times where the catcher sets up will tell you the type of pitch, because there are certain pitches that you don't want to throw in certain areas. Still trying to crowd him upstairs.
Not afraid to come in. 3-2.
Talk about certain pitches in certain areas. Now Ohlendorf to Prince Fielder. If he's going to throw the breaking ball, most of the time it's going to be down and in. Every once in a while they'll try to go outside, backdoor the slider.
Going to go away here.
Fastball.
Walked him. 2 on. Brings up Casey McGee. McGee 0 for 4 in game 2 last night. He was a pinch hitter in the first game. Drew an intentional walk.
Bad news is that you walked Fielder. The good news is that you're on the other side of it.
How about shutting them out in the second game of the doubleheader. The two, talking about Braun and Fielder, going a combined 0 for 8. Just the 7th time Pirates pitching staff has been able to do that since Braun and Fielder joined the big leagues.
Well, you know, if Braun doesn't hit that home run in the first game, they are 0 for the doubleheader. Yeah.
The head toward the seats. Paul goes over to take a look. Ball and a strike on Casey McGehee. 9 homers, 58 RBIs for the third baseman. On second base, Hart, a single to start the game.
I thought it was so great that Brad Lincoln got it together. You were talking about it earlier. Pirates shutting out the Brewers after the first inning. 8-0 is put up after that deuce in the first. Both pitchers last night, both Pirate starters deserved the win.
Yep.
Carson's did and Brad Lincoln did. They didn't come away with wins, but they came away with wins for their manager and their pitching coach and their bullpen. 7
innings for Karstens, 2 runs. The runs came on a 2-out single by the pitcher Narveson on a 1-2 pitch. It's 2-1 here on McGehee. Hits this one hard to right center field. Paul is over. And there. Ross Ullendorf returns to the big leagues, puts up a 0. The top of the first, the Pirates come to bat against Marco Estrada. Andrew McCutchen, excellent speed, 1-2-3. Ryan Doman hits cleanup. Then Neil Walker and Garrett Jones. Josh Harrison gets another start at third base with Ronnie Cedeno at short and Ross Ullendorf on the hill.
Marco Estrada, this native of Sonora, Mexico, a little time with the Washington Nationals. Now with the Brewers. 5 innings, good work against the Dodgers. He's an interesting, take a look at his line against the Pirates. Just 1 start, but a total of 9 innings, 10 strikeouts, no free passes. Very impressive work. That 1 start and a couple trips out of the bullpen against the Bucks. Marco Estrada
made that start because of the fact that the left-hander Narveson had to be scratched when he cut his thumb. So they called on Estrada out of the bullpen to make that spot start. And he, along with 4 other relievers, combined on a 3-hit shutout of the Pirates in Milwaukee, August the 13th.
Pitch in for a strike. We heard about Narveson's changeup, and it was as advertised. He was very, very effective with that. Had to leave the ball game. Estrada with a very good changeup, very good off-speed pitch. But Greg, I want to go back to what you're telling about the speed. I expect the Pirates to really try to run. Tabata with 15 steals, Paul with 14, Andrew McCutchen with 20. I would be surprised if they didn't have a running theme tonight.
Yeah, you wonder if that wasn't the strategy by Hurdle, rather than Ludwig in left, to have Paul in the outfield.
Of course, you can't steal first base, so first things first.
By the way, righties hitting better against Estrada. They're hitting 269, lefties 206. Goes along the lines with that good changeup. Those numbers, those splits, doing well against the left-handed hitters. There you are. Chopper to third, in McGee on to first, and he gets Jose Tabata to start the bottom half of inning number 1. Brewers defense, McGee and Fielder on the corners with Yuniesky Betancourt, the shortstop, and Jerry Hairston Jr. at second. Ryan Braun, Nigel Morgan, Corey Hart in the outfield left to right. Jonathan Lucroy has thrown out only 18% of the runners trying to steal this season.
And you like your catchers to be around 30%, so it'll give you a little perspective of perhaps why the Pirates might be stacked with speed at the top of the order. Greg, way back in the day, the Baltimore Orioles beat the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series. I think 1966. They had a pitching staff that had young Jim Palmer, Chuck Estrada, no relation, but they had quite a foursome back in the day then against Sandy Koufax and the Dodgers.
Paul tries to bunt on this Estrada, and that's about as high a pop-up from a bunt you'll ever see.
Got pretty good wood on that. Comes around and the bat goes down, a little downward shift, and that puts the bat underneath the baseball. Baseball has to go up.
Andrew McCutchen was 0 for 4 in game 1, came on later as a pinch hitter in the second game. Drew a walk, scored a run. Part of that wild 7th inning when a wild pitch was uncorked during that at bat when ball 4 was delivered by Zach Greinke. McCutchen would stay in the game to play the outfield for an inning. And it's 1-2 on Andrew McCutchen. We talked, I know, Bob and I last night on both radio and TV about the job that the Brewers pitchers have done against McCutchen and Walker this season. McCutchen with just 5 hits and 37 at bats, a 135 average against Milwaukee. Neil Walker not much better, 5 out of 35. And a 143 batting average. So they have done a number on 2 of the Pirates' top hitters, McCutchen and Neil Walker. McCutchen's average 271 for the year, 18 homers and 74 ribbies. And a liner to center.
Right on cue.
And a 1-2 pitch.
Now we talk about the running game. Also, Estrada might be a little vulnerable for the long ball. This is his 7th start. He has given up 9 home runs.
Take a look at our day key matchup of the game. Ryan Doumit, since coming off the disabled list, hitting .333 this year against righties, a .294 average, 5 of his 7 home runs off right-handers. Our day key matchup of the day. Estrada has given up 9 home runs. Just his 7th start. 0-2 the count. Doumit 2 for 15 against Milwaukee Brewers pitching this year. He was 0 for 2 against Estrada back on August the 13th. And a shift on against Domet. Looks like the Pirates do against Prince Fielder. You see the shortstop Betancourt swung around to the right side, although second baseman Hairston not playing a shallow right like Walker. And the third baseman McGee essentially playing shortstop. And bounce to the right side. Hairston tosses to Fielder. Pirates leave one. We played one at PNC Park. Pirates and Brewers are scoreless. See and have seen throughout the season as folks getting involved with our Root Sports telecasts. This one involving Ross Ohlendorf. Steve, your assignment is between now and the end of the season is to be creative and come up with your own sign.
All right. I'll work on it.
All right. You'll work on that?
Yep.
All right. It has to R-O-O-T.
The root of all evil? No.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. I'll work on something.
No, we won't do that one. But yeah, you'll work on something, right?
Yes, I will. I know my assignment, and I hope to get an A+. 95 IQ, gainfully employed, as the doc would say.
Betancourt takes ball one. 2 for 8 in the doubleheader yesterday. 10 homers, 55 RBIs. It's cracked to left, top of the back, and over his head. Stays in play, a double to lead off the second for Betancourt.
Not enough height on this ball for Jose to have a chance to get back to it. Up right over the middle of the plate. A chance to extend the hands and just turn it back around, and that ball right on the button. A little more height, Jose might have had a shot. That passed him too quickly.
That August 13th game, Betancourt with Estrada pitching homered off Kevin Correa in the second inning. That was the only run of the ball game. A Betancourt homer. There you see his 23rd double of the year. Sherry Hairston Jr. was picked up before the deadline. He has played in 18 games for Milwaukee since coming over from the Nationals. He was 2 for 4 in game 1 yesterday.
Just the theme root just lends itself to all kind of creative things in terms of signs. I mean, it's fan oriented.
Yep.
You're rooting for the home team. Are you rooting for a player? You're rooting for the Pirates. You're rooting for your city.
Oh, could be trouble. Shallow right, and it drops in for a hit. And it's first and third with nobody out in the second. Little pop up to shallow right.
Sometimes you make those good pitches and they just pop it over somebody's head. See that ball in on the hands. Look how far. Strike zone presented by Range Resources shows you how far that ball is in and off the plate. And he fights it off for a base hit. Just too far for Neil Walker. I didn't see if Paul got any kind of jump on it or not. I couldn't tell. I was watching Neil.
The infield at double play depth, conceding a run against Lucroy.
Another glance at the flare. See Neil going out. And Paul coming on in, just kind of no man's land.
To know the count on Lucroy. He started the second game of the doubleheader last night, was 1 for 4.
Another one of those situations where you can't really worry too much. You're down at the bottom of the batting order. You can't worry about that guy at third base. Here's the guy you want because the pitcher's in the on deck circle.
And another little flare.
Are you kidding me?
RBI single. The double, of course, was hit hard by Betancourt. And a couple of flares produce a run.
See that one off the handle of the bat. This one even shorter than the other one. Ross Ohlendorf really
Ohlendorf's
victimized.
doing a nice job coming in, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and he's paying the price for it. I mean, that ball barely got over the head of Garrett Jones. I mean, those are quality pitches. They're quality deliveries, and they'll just smile and take them and think about all the line drives they've hit that have been caught.
Josh Harrison talks to Ohlendorf while Ed Cedar, the third base coach, talks to Estrada.
Everybody trying to get on the same page for this bunt attempt.
And Cedeno will join Ohlendorf. Well, hopefully everybody is on the same page now. And certainly the bunt in order. Strike one.
I'll tell you one thing. If Ronnie's talking Spanish and Ross is talking economics, you got a problem.
You got a whole new ball game.
And they're both capable.
Yep.
If there's any way you can blow up the sacrifice attempt.
Wheel play on, and so Estrada, seeing that middle of the infield open, swings away and comes up empty.
See Cedeno take off toward third. The minute he takes off, now the pitcher sees it and swings in case he can find a hole with everybody moving around. Cost him strike two. Now this is where Ross has to bury him. You got to take this bunt away now. High fastball or breaking ball down and away. Just stay out of the middle of the strike zone.
And he gets the bunt down. Oh, brother. Domit fires it over the head of Walker on a routine bunt. And it's 2-0. Sacrifice E2.
And now you've got the makings of a disaster. You're back up at the top of the lineup. And then on second and third, you've got two in. And Ryan Domit catches a flyer. And everybody's off to the races.
Nobody out, second and third. And the infield back. Corey Hart at the plate. Fly ball to shallow right. Paul's got a good arm. If he gets to it, he makes the catch, and there will be no play at the plate. Lucroy holds out number 1. Bring up Nyjer Morgan, our AGH Sports Medicine injury update. Steve Pearce, right pointer finger and injury. He is placed on the disabled list and left game 1 last night in the 9th, forcing the Pirates to have Michael McHenry play third base for the first time in his professional career. Pedro Ciriaco has been recalled from AAA. Our AGH Sports Medicine injury update. There's Pedro Ciriaco back again. Hasn't played much at all this year. Much of the time he's been on the Pirates roster. For Steve Pearce, just troubles continue for him. Just when he has gotten time to play this year, hasn't produced, and lo and behold, he ends up getting injured last night.
Seen that commercial. Trouble, worry, worry, worry. Trouble, trouble. The dog trying to find a place to bury his bone.
Morgan bunts the ball foul. It's not a squeeze. Take a look at how Pearce got hurt last night.
Diving for this ball. Couldn't get the glove on it, but you see the right hand go down right there into the dirt. Must have jammed it somehow. You can see him looking at it right away.
After the at bat where he struck out, he came in to tell Hurdle, and Hurdle then again had to make that move. Infield is in. And it's 1-2 on Morgan. By the way, Ross Ohlendorf activated or recalled, and the Pirates designate for assignment lefty Joe Beimel. His Pirate career over, his second go round. Clint Hurdle talked about what a professional Beimel was this season. 0-2 the count on Nyjer Morgan.
By the way, a strikeout candidate, 58 strikeouts for Nyjer, so he can be had. Above the strike zone. Something other than the fastball. Looked like a slider that just kind of stayed up there and spun. The bird.
And up the middle, a base hit. And Estrada will be held at third. Nyjer Morgan's RBI single in a 1-2 pitch makes it 3-0 Milwaukee.
Another base hit on a 1-2 pitch, and the Pirates ahead in the count, as you've been pointing out so many times, and getting burned. 0-2, 1-2. And now you get to the big guys.
Morgan with his 30th RBI of the season. Braun flied to left in the first, still just one out.
Well, this is a situation where you really have to keep an eye on Morgan, because the Pirates are back on their heels now, and Ross Ohlendorf trying to concentrate as he needs to do against Ryan Braun. That's task enough, but if he gets careless, Nyjer Morgan will take off. Even if he doesn't get careless, he might give it a shot.
Ryan Braun, MVP type season. This is where he ranks among some of the offensive categories of the National League. Our Barrel Automotive League leaders, second in hitting, fifth in RBIs, first in runs scored, third in extra base hits, tops in slugging. 581. Barrel Automotive, definitely worth the click. Inside, ball 2 on Ryan Braun. Now 1 for 13 in his career against Ross Ohlendorf.
Oh, would you beg for a ground ball right at somebody right now?
Sort of looked like Ricky Saflinsky.
Exactly, yeah.
Behind a home plate in the Lexus Club.
Yep.
That young man, or John Axford, used to have that handlebar going.
Raleigh fingers.
Jeff Mitchell, our director.
Yeah, but Mitch has got he's got the real deal. I mean, he's got the best one.
3-1 on Braun.
Except when he had that broccoli in there the other night.
Yeah, it was real broccoli.
Yep.
3-1 count. And fake to third, look to first. Braun with 83 runs batted in, 5th most in the league. Prince Fielder, his teammate, leads the senior circuit with 99 ribbies. Then it's Ryan Howard, Matt Kemp, and Troy Tulowitzki. And then Braun. That is shot to left center field. That is a deep line drive off the fence. This will score a couple. Ryan Braun, a 2-run double, and it's 5-0 Brewers.
Well, good major league hitters just feast on 3-1 fastballs. Braun just crushes it to the base of the fence. That is in the wheelhouse.
Ray Searage will come out.
Braun adds to his RBI total that quickly.
No surprise that Braun is now 5 out of 7 this season on 3-1 counts. As you said, Steve, that's what good major league hitters do, and he's really, really good. Ryan Braun combination, we talked a lot about it. We do every time Pirates play the Brewers, and understandably so, about that combo, the power from the right side Braun, from the left side Fielder. Ross Ollendorf's first start with the Pirates since early April not going well. And tough luck after the Betancourt double was hit hard, then 2 jam shots, and then the Pirates didn't get the out on the Estrada bunt. Domit threw it over the head of Neil Walker.
I want to just take another look at the pitch delivered by Ollendorf to Braun. Strike zone presented by Range Resources, and 3-1 count. You don't have to protect out away. You can look for a pitch in an area. Your team is on a roll. He's looking inside. He gets the fastball and he just delivers.
Line foul by Fielder.
This is just full throttle. You want to look at the definitive power swing? I just saw one.
A hit away from another 100 RBI season. Braun had 3 straight 100 RBI seasons from 07 through 09, led the league with 141 runs batted in 2 years ago. Last year really struggled, especially the first half. Bounced back to have a good year, not a Fielder-like season. Down he goes.
They're trying to crowd him. First at bat, and they lost him. This time he goes after it, gets a little greedy, down and in, way down, way in. Strike zone presented by Range Resources shows this breaking ball not even close. Good block by Ryan after the swing. You know, Greg, nobody warming up. This might be a case where Ray came out and said, listen, you're going to get your work in tonight. Results are going to be what they're going to be, but we want you out there for maybe 75 pitches. regardless of what happens. That's just conjecture on my part. That may not be the case, but with nobody warming up, it makes you wonder.
Well, they got really what they needed from their starters last night in the doubleheader. We talked about that at the outset. 7 from Karsten, 6 from Lincoln, but they're still really in need of innings from Ohlendorf. And let's face it, we don't know officially who's going to start tomorrow, because Paul Mahalem and Kevin Correa have both gone on the DL. Correa's start was to be tomorrow. Now Aaron Thompson is with the club up from the minor leagues, and good possibility that he would start, but Clint Hurdle wouldn't commit to Thompson. Good news, by the way, you're watching with us last night. We were a little bit concerned about Jeff Karstens when he came off the mound after his 7 innings. He didn't look real comfortable, and indeed he had a cramp in the back of his shoulder. They had x-rays taken. Apparently he's okay. Long toss today without issue.
Well, you come away from a start like he had, pitched so well, and then to hang a breaking ball to the opposing pitcher and ahead in the count. You can't do things about things that happen very often, but every once in a while it just digs at you. The pitcher, and then, you can live with other situations where you get burned, you get hurt. That's going to happen, but boy, in a 2-0 game at that point, just got to eat at you.
Runner goes for third, and nobody paying attention at all to Ryan Braun, so he'll take the bag. And that is his 27th steal.
The tape of this top of the 2nd inning is not going to Cooperstown for posterity. A stroll to third base.
Two and two on McGee.
Well, that last start we told you about at AAA Indianapolis against Louisville, Ross threw 94 pitches. The start before that threw 102. So that part has been built up.
That's driven deep. Don't even have to go back, Tabata. That is way, way gone. Crushed. 2-2 pitch. McGee hammers home run number 10. And a 7-run second. Brewers say take that, Pirates, after the Bucks put 7 on the board in the 7th inning last night. They're in a split. They've opened up a 7-0 lead.
In off the zone, looking in, getting it in. Strike zone presented by Range Resources, and that's in the wheelhouse if you're looking in there. Now that pitch can tie you up if you're looking outside, but he wasn't looking outside.
Oh, base hit, and the bullpen is going to be activated. Not going well for Ross Ohlendorf. Before that single to Betancourt, somebody got up in the bullpen. It's Daniel McCutchen. 8 hits, 7 of them here in the second.
That's getting even with our 7th spot for sure.
Hairston hit that jam shot into right following the Betancourt single. Line to the shortstop. And the Bronx cheer here in Pittsburgh for the final out. 7-0 Brewers.
Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Well, 7-zip. Good news is it's only the second inning. Bad news is they scored 7 in the top of the second.
So far, the bad news outweighs the good news.
Casey McGee crushed his 10th home run of the season. Topping off that inning now, Walker. Let's bring in all the cliches, Steve. Come on, let's do it now.
It's early.
It's early.
Yeah, let's just edge into this lead. Just
you can't score 7 with one swing.
Right. Yeah, just one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't try to get them all at once. Plenty of time. They're probably feeling real complacent right now.
You can send us your favorite cliche at Text the Booth. 412-412. Message and data rates may apply.
Don't even try. Hang in there. You can get them tomorrow. They will be used here in the booth.
Yeah, that's right.
We've got to have
some
our
of our
share
own
too. Yeah.
Don't take ours. Yep. Go ahead. Woo! 2-2 on Walker.
We're going to need a lot of attaboys.
Yeah. How about, Steve, your team just scored you 7. How about walking the leadoff guy?
Not good.
Not good for Estrada or the Brewers, but
not good for Ron Renick either. Who would want to see that?
Right. Can't imagine it would happen. And that would have been ball 4. And so it looked. Like it was downstairs. 1 up and 1 down in the second.
Well, didn't we get a preview before the real barrage started with those 2 little flares to right center and then the dunker over Jones's head? That
it was an uh-oh moment.
Yeah. Not that told the whole story.
It's not the all-you-can-eat seats, is it?
Well, I can scratch that notation about the Pirates' running game at this particular point.
One and 1 on Garrett Jones. 21 games this month, hitting .303. 8 doubles, 5 homers, 12 RBIs. Leads the National League with 13 extra base hits this month. Clint Hurdle was asked about Jones today and the fact that he's had such a. And the question was, does it coincide with Ludwig and Lee arriving that he has had, quote, such a great month? And Hurdle said, very matter of fact, let's not call it a great month. He's had a good month. Play goes 1-3. 2 down in the second.
Okay, I'll start first. What was your first position in Little League?
You're gonna throw out the yearbook already?
Oh yeah, we're going back. Got to go back.
Josh Harrison. Hey, the Pirates are 18 and 11 when Harrison starts this season. 16 and 9 when he starts at third base.
That's a road trip there.
Yeah, Angels. Breaking ball and a fly ball to center. And Nyjer Morgan a 1-2-3 second after they put up 7. New cable subscribers from the Pottsville and Tremont areas in Schuylkill County. Thanks for rooting on your Pittsburgh Pirates. All of us at Root Sports and the Pirates appreciate your support. Let's go Bucks. Like it. See, we're making our way into Philly country.
Well,
now Bucko country. Yeah. Pete Toma, more toward the eastern part of the state. I'm more of a central PA guy. We're covering it. Strike one on Lucroy, Brewers catcher.
Tell us about those early years you had in Central Pennsylvania.
We're going to get there. If the Bucks don't score a few. We'll get some cliches already, though, Steve. Some texters texting the booth with their favorite cliches. And, of course, the all-time best, it ain't over till it's over.
Good one.
Yeah.
Foundation.
We have them right where we want them.
No. They have us right where we want them.
Chip away at the lead.
Yep. How about there's no clock in baseball, buddy?
I like that one.
All the time we need.
How about the your
oh, my one out there
in the press box when you walk in down the hallway? They have a framed baseball proverb
from Roger Angel. Great baseball
yep.
writing. Since baseball time is measured only in outs, all you have to do is succeed utterly. Keep hitting, keep the rally alive, and you have defeated time. You remain young forever. Get a little emotional.
Strikeout of Lucroy to start the third.
Strike zone from Range Resources. Upstairs, the chase comes down empty.
HEH cam look. Ohlendorf, big things were expected from Ohlendorf last year as he faces his mound opponent. And why not after his first full season in a Pirates uniform in 2009? He went 11-10, had a 3.92 ERA. That was his first full season in the majors.
He's getting his work in tonight.
Back spasms cost him some time last year as well. On and off the disabled list. Ended the year with some tightness and soreness in the back of his right shoulder. Had a lot of trouble this year with that. Former 4th round pick of the Diamondbacks in 2004. And was dealt to the Yankees. Part of the Randy Johnson trade. In January of 07.
Close.
3-2 on the pitcher. Bucco's got Ohlendorf, Jose Tabata, Jeff Karstens, and Daniel McCutchen. July of 08 for Xavier Nady and Damaso Marte from the Yankees. One hopper, Harrison. Throws out the pitcher, Estrada. Follow the Pirates with the MLB.com @BAT11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @BAT to 31826 or visit Pirates.com for details. Corey Hart has singled and flied to right.
You got to consider even with the struggles of Ross Ohlendorf, the Pirates got much the better of that transaction.
That has turned out to be a fabulous deal for the Bucks. Ohlendorf out of Princeton University. One, two, three. Go to the bottom of the third. 7-zip Brew Crew. PNC Park take on the Bucks Saturday, September 10th, 7:05. The finals and Belly Fireworks Night of the Year. It's also an Eaton Park Scratch and Win Saturday. All fans get a scratch card good for prizes from Eaton Park. For tickets, go to Pirates.com. Saturday, September 10th. Don't forget, by the way, that the Pirates, not on your original schedule, are playing a makeup game right in the middle of a long road trip. September the 1st. It's a Thursday afternoon ball game against the Dodgers. Thursday afternoon, September 1st. Go to Pirates.com. The Dodgers in town for one game on Thursday afternoon, late afternoon game, September the 1st.
The Bucco faithful have not quit.
No.
Nor will they.
The third inning. Put up 7 last night in the 7th inning. And as the cliches keep coming in, texting the booth, like 1,000 runs start with the first hit.
That'd win this thing, 1,000.
Sure it would.
Get something on the board. Let them know you're here. Keep them right there. We'll get them.
One and two on Cedeno. One ball, 2 strikes on Cedeno. And a base hit. I'll repeat, 1,000 runs start with the first hit. Thank you to all the texters we're getting. Watching this game on Root Sports, nobody has given up. It's only the third inning. Now, of course, you also have to have the shutdown. Ohlendorf and the bullpen have to shut things down completely if you have any chance at all to gigantic comeback.
Yeah, so
right?
Right there, we'll get them.
Ohlendorf trying to bunt. And now it's 0-2. And as unhappy as Ohlendorf is with that 7 runs he gave up in the second, though they weren't all earned, the fans weren't happy, and they'll be really unhappy if he doesn't get a bunt down.
So will he. I mean,
gets it down.
Okay, that's better. Almost had a chance to keep on running. That ball almost thrown away by Mr. Estrada.
Ohlendorf was taking little frustrations out there too. He was going as hard as he possibly could down that line. He is. It's all frustration.
There's a big man going.
That's as hard as he can go.
He is trucking.
Sacrifice 1-4.
Jose Tabata to stay hot. He has been red hot. They're shading him toward right field. No surprise there. High percentage of his offense to right center and right field.
Happy birthday. Everybody celebrating Susie Thoma's birthday, huh?
Got teeth. Got teeth. Not yet.
That's a great shot.
Got his binky there.
Yeah. Estrada quickly off the hill. Gets Tabata. 2 outs.
Little chopper out toward the mound as long as Estrada doesn't hurry. Make the play comfortably.
Xavier Paul tried to bunt his way on in the first inning and popped it up to the second baseman Hairston. Pop up the shallow right center field. The Bucks are on the board. 7-1.
This is just the beginning.
RBI for Paul brings home Cedeno. McCutchen, a big cut, singled in the first.
You want to make it 7-3 right
Yeah.
there. As we said, Estrada has been vulnerable to a long ball. To see Andrew run into one.
Marco Estrada, probably his last spot start. He'll be going back to the bullpen, you'd think, now that Narveson is back in the rotation.
But you wonder about Narveson with that split fingernail.
There goes the runner from first, and it's a high fly ball to center. Catch made. The final out. Bucks get 1 onto the 4th. Milwaukee Brewers living the high life. They're on the cover of the most recent Sports Illustrated that I guess will hit the newsstands tomorrow. You see Nyjer Morgan, Prince Fielder, and Ryan Braun living the high life. How T. Plush and 2 wall-banging MVP candidates are mixing a strange brew in Milwaukee. Trivia question: can you name the first Pirates player and first Brewers player to appear on the covers of Sports Illustrated by themselves? Our AT&T mobility trivia question.
Ralph Kiner.
That's not a bad guess. Not a bad guess at all. A 1-1 on Nyjer Morgan. And a base hit.
Don Sutton finished up his career with Brewers, but he was just finishing. Was Gorman Thomas?
Yeah, he was certainly. Yeah. So the question is,
or Yount, Robin Yount.
Yeah, but the question is, who's the first?
Brewers.
Yeah, first Brewer and first Pirate, right?
Yeah.
To be on the cover by themselves.
I'm going to say Yount and Kiner.
First issue of Sports Illustrated, August of 1954.
Not Kiner. How about Frank Thomas? You know, he was on a cover.
Yeah. Well, if he was on the cover of SI, that's got to be it.
Gone.
To center field, deep. Off the wall.
Morgan stopped between second and third, thinking that McCutchen might get to it. He didn't, so just strolls on over to third base, and here they come again.
Talk about wall bangers. We're on second.
Remember, it was Harvey Keene, the manager. Harvey's wall bangers.
Nyjer thought he might have to go back.
I think it was Nyjer going to third, Tony Plush, or whatever the Plush name is, going back.
Braun just missing his 26th home run.
Well, how about this setup for the big man to get number 100? No, he won't. They'll walk him. Foiled again.
Daniel McCutchen back up in the bullpen, and he may be the one to face McGee. His intentional walk might be Ohlendorf's last 2 pitches. After a 1-2-3 third, the 7-run second gives up the hard single to Morgan and the double off the wall by Braun.
And you know, the beat goes on, Greg, no matter who the Pirates are playing. What, the next off day is September 8th?
Right.
So it is a stretch and a half.
No, he's going to face McGee. McGee homered in the second. Casey McGee drove in 104 runs last year. Talk about picking up players off the waiver wire. Teams like the Pirates and the Brewers, small to mid-market clubs, really need to do those kind of things, and that's where the scouting comes in. And they claimed McGee off waivers from the Cubs before the 2009 season. The ball's popped up, and the catch is going to be made. An infield fly was called, even though it's Paul who makes the catch. One away. But McGee with over 100 runs driven in last year, 23 homers in his second full season in the major leagues. Hit his 10th home run in the second inning and now has 60 RBIs this season. Betancourt has hit into a dozen double plays. Third on the team behind Fielder and McGee.
I wonder if a lot of Pirate fans remember Harry Walker being on the cover of Sports Illustrated one year.
That could be it then. There's a ground ball. That could be a double play. It is.
There you go, Ross.
You're going to come back from 7 down. You need to put up zeros.
Baseball on Root Sports is sponsored by Toyota. Buy right the first time and save more. Visit your local Toyota dealer for details. And by AT&T. Let's go Bucks.
And back to our trivia question, brought to you by AT&T. Prince Fielder and the Brewers featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated this week. Can you name the first Pirates player and the first Brewers player to appear on the covers of Sports Illustrated by themselves? I like your guess, Steve. Frank Thomas for the Pirates. And I have to believe it was one of those big boppers of Harvey's wall bangers.
Yep.
And you said
Gorman Thomas, my second choice, Robin Yount.
Rob Deere was part of that crew.
Third choice, Ben Bernanke. Oh, no, that's the Fed guy.
Yeah. Raleigh Fingers in 81. And Frank Thomas was right. July 28, 1958. In 1981, the Brewers would reach the postseason. That was because of the split season of 81. And Domet, fly ball to center. So the original Frank Thomas, there it is.
One of the strongest guys to ever play. Frank's still active in our alumni.
The original Frank Thomas, and there, the handlebar mustache, Raleigh Fingers.
We mentioned him.
Here's my personal favorite. Steve Blass. July 3rd, 1972 edition.
So skinny. By the way, Pete Tillman, that was taken in Wrigley Field. Sano probably got a couple hits that day off me.
Pretty neat, though, to be featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, and the curse worked too. Next year.
There's one. Of course, Clint Hurdle.
Yeah.
The Royals.
Different hairstyle for Clint.
Yeah. July of 1978. But he can relate, as he says, unlike a lot of other players or managers or coaches, because so much was expected of him that year. Really expected him to carry the Royals for a while. He had a good career, just not the one that everybody else expected. Walker tied up.
First strikeout for Estrada. Down and in. Those left-handers like to go downstairs and golf the ball, but when that ball keeps bending and bending and bending, it gets too far underneath the hands and too close to your knees. Greg, wanting to take a little moment to give a shout out. Tom Link, 40 years, worked at the Lamont restaurant up on Mount Washington. Great Pirate fan for all those years, retiring. They put his name up on the board tonight. And Tom, you can thank that shout out to your buddy Tony up on the hill in Mount Washington. Boy, 40 years.
Oh,
that's loyalty. That's a great two-way street.
I always knew when you could go in there, he's going to be there.
Yep. Yeah. They call him the king of the flambe. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds like royalty.
Well, congratulations.
That's probably where they cook at your table. Something like that.
A mainstay at Lamont.
Yep.
And a pop-up. It's Morgan. Pirates go down 1-2-3. They trail by 6 after 4 innings. Great shots from the AGH cam. Pirates down 7-1. Third game of this 4-game series. Jerry Hairston Jr. the bottom third of the order against Ohlendorf.
Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it just be great for the Pirates to come all the way back, find a way to win this ball game, and come back to the top of the 4th inning? Bases loaded, nobody out. Ohlendorf doesn't give up a run. It's going to take some work to make that script work.
Harrison on the backhand. Again, 7 runs in the second off Ollendorf. 4 were earned. Very costly error. Much different looking at a 4-1 deficit. Instead, 3 unearned runs. The Pirates weren't able to get an out when Estrada was bunting. Ball 1 strike on Lucroy. He and George Gutierrez, catching tandem for Ron Renicke's Brewers, who have been on a fabulous roll.
They get to run out Sean Markham 11-3 tomorrow afternoon.
Base hit. 1 out single for Lucroy. Fuel your passion for WVU and Marshall football this fall with wild and wonderful sports on Root Sports. It all kicks off next Tuesday, August 30th, with a press conference of WVU head coach Dana Holgerson. Check out rootsports.com for all the details. And now Estrada, who has sacrificed and grounded out. On Estrada. Brewers entering tonight's game with a franchise record 9-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. 25 games over 500 now for the first time since they finished 95-67 in 1982 as Ollendorf throws to first for the sacrifice. Corey Hart, 1 for 3, will come to the plate. 11 hits for the Brewers. Hart singled in the first.
Remember going to Milwaukee to play the Milwaukee Braves in 1964 as a rookie. County Stadium. We had some big boppers. Henry Aaron, Ipe Lou, Rico Cardi. It's just a hitter's environment.
Roller to third, deep third, a bobble from Harrison, throws to first, the stretch from Jones, and the out recorded. 8 pitches. See if the Pirates can get a few here. Down 7-1 going to the bottom of inning number 5.
so far in Milwaukee. Of course, I'm speaking of manager Ron Renicky, and the 9-game lead, that's right, 9-game lead that the Brewers have in first place in the National League Central Division. In fact, after they swept the Mets in New York over the weekend, they had a 9-game lead over the Cardinals, their largest divisional lead since June 23rd of 2007. They had an 8.5-game lead that season and were unable to hold it. But, Stephen, talking about the Brewers and that season they had in '81 and the cover on Sports Illustrated and so forth, you know, they've had a lot of success as of late, but they had a long gap there. I think from '82 until just a few years ago, they had not made the postseason.
Yep, but they don't know a thing about real gaps. They have put it together, and they have assembled a very, very solid baseball team. The largest lead of any division leader.
And they sure seem well equipped, maybe to go deep in the playoffs. Thanks to Dan Potash. Talking about this Brewers club under Ron Renicky, taking over for Ken Maka.
They're pretty much like everybody else, even with a 9-game lead. Their starting rotation is going to have a lot to do with what happens the next 5 or 6 weeks. But they're going to have to work very, very hard to give it up. If their starters can be consistent, so the bullpen can do the things that they're supposed to do instead of being overworked down the stretch. It gets down to hot and heavy situations the last 2 or 3 weeks. The starters can really make a difference in helping them keep this cushion. I wouldn't think you'd have any more starting pitchers sitting on the bench working with scissors trying to fix their glove. I doubt if that'll be allowed anymore. So happened to Naverson.
He did not think that fingernail issue would cause him to miss a start. He said he and they got out of there quickly enough last night. And Harrison, a fly ball hit deep to left field, and Josh Harrison's first Major League home run.
Another step in the right direction.
First in the big leagues for the J. Hay kid.
Congratulations. Well, got that triple last night. That triple is nothing like hitting the ball over the fence. Told you that Estrada was a little vulnerable to the long ball. Gives up the tater here in the bottom of the 5th, and the Pirates now looking at a 5-run deficit.
Josh Harrison, the home run, his first in the major leagues.
Congratulations, young man.
Cincinnati native. Comes on his 111th major league at bat.
Take a look at the grid where the pitch is, up and in the zone, in the go zone.
One and two on Cedeno. Singled and scored in the 3rd. He goes down.
Worth another look. Ryan Braun runs out of room. It's in the books. That's nothing cheap.
No.
That's 400 feet.
He's got occasional pop. We've seen that. Harrison, they'll get that baseball for sure. As Pedro Siriaco bats for Ohlendorf. Up and down season for Siriaco. Grounds this ball to second. 2 outs. watch the AGH cam. Who caught the ball? That fan right
Good
there,
reach.
that gentleman.
Sign him up.
Of course, now the negotiations will take place. Nice grab, though. That was excellent. Harrison not considered a home run hitter, but as I said, occasional pop. Line drive right field.
The top of the trademark.
Yep.
TR, top of the right. Strike zone. Oh, right down Grand Street. See those hands get out in front, but the bat stays back. You get up, the arms, the wrists don't break, so that's still coming through late enough to send it to the opposite direction.
Now you need a hit here, Steve, and you get McCutchen up there to hit another long ball.
Yep.
There goes the runner, Tabata.
No contest.
They won't attempt to throw. Stolen base number 16.
And doesn't seem like much in a 7-2 ball game, but with 2 outs, might get a cheap run. Now it's 7-3. Now it's looking a little bit different. Meant to say the hands stay back. The arms come out and the hands stay back with the bat, so that allows you to wait a little bit longer, send the ball to the opposite field.
1-1 the count on Xavier Paul. Little pop up that brought in a run in the 3rd inning. A base hit to right center. There's Paul, another player that not known for his power by any stretch. He has 2 since being acquired off waivers from the Dodgers, 2 Pirate home runs. Three major league dingers for Xavier Paul. Let's hit toward the line and left. Braun runs out of room.
Get over there and get too much tangled up with that short fence. You can have some knee issues. There's some padding, but there's also some support material over there. Who's it we saw down the right field line? Was that a Xavier Paul going in hard with the knees the other night?
That feet first slide. His knee below the padding. Oh, you'd love to get that run in, make it interesting. This is going to be the final out as Paul reaches for it. Home run for Josh Harrison, his first major league dinger. It's a 7-2 ball game.
is sponsored by Levin Furniture, home of the Tempur-Pedic, the most recommended mattress in America. Let's go Bucks!
Take a look at the game summary. Brewers lead 7-2. Josh Harrison just hit his first big league homer. The Brewers score 7 in the second. 4 of those runs were earned against Ohlendorf. Makes his first start tonight in the big league since April the 8th. Now Daniel McCutchen takes over. I didn't see who won the pierogi race, by the way.
Saul came on late.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. Strong late kick.
All right. Daniel McCutchen worked a scoreless 7th inning of game 2 last night. Morgan, Braun, Fielder.
All things considered, we got more out of Ross Ohlendorf in terms of innings than we thought we were going to get in the second, and then again in the fourth when they threatened once again. Doesn't save the bullpen, but it doesn't bury it. You know, if you're out of there in the second inning, you have buried your bullpen for that particular night. I shouldn't say that. Sometimes you get somebody come in and give you 3 or 4 innings. That's a big deal. But you have the possibility of burying some arms. You have to start bringing people in the second.
Two-one count on Morgan. He has 2 hits. Ohlendorf, 5 innings, 11 hits. 7 runs, 4 earned. Two on Morgan. Still 2-2 on Morgan.
Yeah, the cover boy at Sports Illustrated. Currently hitting .310.
Fielder and Braun on the cover. We were showing that earlier. Looking at that story, by the way, we showed you the cover of Frank Thomas, the summer of '55. It was entitled "The Unknown Home Run Hitter." The Pirates' Frank Thomas was an unspectacular ball player until the Dodgers and Giants moved west. Their friendly new parks helped make him the league's top slugger. And the story goes on to talk about how the Pirates had, for 1 year, brought in Hank Greenberg. Greenberg Gardens, where they moved the fences way in. Ball hit to shallow center. And 1 away. When they brought in Hank Greenberg, and he was really toward the end of his career. And then it talked about how Ralph Kiner benefited from that. 1953. The work that Kiner did, but eventually they moved it back. And the story in Sports Illustrated quotes Frank Thomas about what that was like to try and hit home runs in the spacious Forbes Field, home of the Pirates, of course, which was a nightmare for home run hitters.
Unless you were left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember Forbes Field, it was 365 down the left field line, and you had to hit it over the scoreboard that had the clock on it. 406 to left center, and then 436, and then 457. I mean, just a cavernous yard. And then the short porch to the right, but you had the screen. So you had to have a lot of lift. You could hit the ball as hard as you want to right field, and it might bounce off that screen. So 410 to the notch. Consider another 47 feet.
Man.
I mean, it was so far out there that they could put the batting cage.
Yeah.
It was never a problem. And the flagpole in center field.
In 1953, at Greenberg Gardens, they had a low fence built some 30 feet closer to home plate than the regular left field wall. But in the following year, in '54, it totaled up some numbers. 219 home runs were hit in Cincinnati's Crosley Field, 185 at the Polo Grounds, 172 at Ebbets Field, 73 in Pittsburgh. Ball 4 on Ryan Braun.
The Pirates never did own Forbes Field, owned by the University of Pittsburgh, but a lot of events there. Steelers played there, Pitt played there.
Of course, Steve.
Some championship fights. See, there's the batting cage. You can
the
see
the flagpole in the batting cage.
And if we can, I don't know if we can't stop, but it's 457 that in the shrubbery there.
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah.
See the marker.
I don't know if does that continue all the way over to left field? Okay. That's a great shot, though. When you can put the batting cage in play, it's really not a problem. I remember Matty Alou going back. Yeah, you can see it's a big yard. Matty Alou would go back and so short we'd lose him in kind of the shadows back there.
Where Steve was with the Pirates when the team moved from Forbes in the middle of the summer of 1970 to Three Rivers.
The good stuff, boy. We're going to get our air conditioning and carpeting in the clubhouse. Big deal.
So many wonder how many home runs Willie Stargell would have hit his whole career at Three Rivers.
Well, they kept track of he had a bunch of them over the roof in right field. Towering shots. Of course, the scoreboard, it had those sheet metal numbers that you would slide down. There was a guy that worked out there, and occasionally on Sundays they'd cook hot dogs inside there, and you see the smoke coming out of the holes before they put the scores, the plates down in. There we go. You can see it now. So you had to hit it over that to hit it out and left. So it's just huge. You get the 365 and 406 and then 450, 436 and then 457. There are numbers all over the place out there.
Buccos moved there in 1909. Runner goes. And a safe call as Harrison not able to hold on to the throw. A stolen base with a shift on. It was Harrison who took that throw.
They had the pitch out, the throw.
Boy,
where they're going to have them.
If Harrison grabs it. Very close.
It's one of those plays where the ball tailing back to first base was a plus. It was a positive.
Fielder wanting that 100th RBI is going to get it here. Braun will coast in as Prince Fielder wraps a double into the left center gap. Talking about the dimensions here and right toward the 410 notch. 100 RBIs for Prince Fielder. An 8-2 lead for the Brewers.
When he catches the gap, the balls usually have a little finish to them, and this one did also.
Oh, Doumit not able to handle that pitch. Threw a wild pitch. Looked like a cross up. Let's see what we can see here. Well, kicks off his foot.
Yep. Still past the glove. There was going to be a problem with it. I just gave it some extra distance.
Now McGee with one out. Runner at third.
By the way, just to finish up on that story, the University of Pittsburgh owned that property, so when they tore Forbes Field down, they built a library in that neighborhood, and they wanted to keep home plate, kind of commemorate where it was. So they were going to embed it in part of the library. The problem was the exact location was in the middle of the ladies' room. So they kind of changed it a little bit and put it in the hallway. So you can walk through that library now,
yep.
See approximately where home plate was. And they had one of the first rain tarps that came up out of the ground.
We were talking about that last night. Three Rivers also, but that had to be the first rain tarp that came out from under the ground.
Yep.
Pop up. Walker.
And also both clubhouses had to, your players out of both clubhouses had to exit through a dirt area, dirt path down from the clubhouses, winding around, coming out in the first base dugout that was a home dugout. So if you're a visiting pitcher and you got knocked out of the game, you kind of had to walk the gauntlet through the Pirate dugout to get on the path to go up to your clubhouse.
It must have been so much fun.
Oh, but that was a treat. You just kind of sit there and keep your mouth shut as a Pirate. There were other locations where it was a little embarrassing too. Candlestick Park. If you got knocked out, you had to walk all the way down the right field line or go through the Giants dugout down the back way.
Bounce to third. The final out. Prince Fielder drives in his 100th run of the season. It's 8-2 Milwaukee. ...2011 featuring Steve Miller Band live in concert after the Pirates-Reds 7:05 game. Coming up on September the 24th. They'll be playing all their biggest hits. Tickets to Fan Jam, go to Pirates.com. Steve Miller Band, Saturday night, September 24th here at PNC Park.
What about the look like there? Mike Krukow.
Good call. Yep.
Giants broadcaster. There was another old ballpark where both teams had to come out of a common runway. Crosley Field. The clubhouses were out in little separate buildings, like little huts. And you had to come down a runway right by third base at Crosley Field.
These days, these clubhouses are so luxurious and
condos.
Yeah, and they're almost on either ends of the field. You won't have any of those. Remember the fight that took place at Three Rivers between I think the Braves and the Pirates behind the dugouts. Nice play there by Casey McGee. Robbing McCutcheon of a hit. One up and one down. It brings up Doman. As you exited at Three Rivers, the dugouts.
Yeah. Oh, there was a common tunnel in the tunnelway there.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, there's a little dust up there.
All of a sudden, you see both benches, the bullpen's empty, and everybody
disappears. Yeah.
The fight was taking place indoors.
Those are a lot of concrete walls around there too. Could do some damage. I remember coming out of that runway in Cincinnati Crosley Field my rookie year, the day after I hit Pete Rose in the head, and walking out, and he was ahead of me. I hollered, "Hey, Pete, didn't mean to do that." He looked around at me, and I can't say what he said, but you don't fool a fooler. Words to that effect. He taught me a lesson there. Keep your mouth shut, young man.
You went to try to apologize to Pete?
Yeah, I was trying to. Yeah, I was young and stupid and did a stupid thing. I don't know what was happening, but I did try to throw up and in, and I did try to hit him, and I hit him. Didn't hurt him. I mean, didn't do any real damage, but trying to cover it up was the wrong thing to do. That was a lie, and he called me on it. I learned a little something that day. It wasn't like the time I hit Brooks Robinson in the head accidentally in spring training. We all ran in, and he's down on the ground, and he's hollering up and said, "Oh, I'm all right. I'm good." I said, "No, you stay down there. You know, you get right up. People are going to think I don't have any fastball at all. So stay down there for a minute for my sake."
Make it look like it hurt. Make it look like it hurt.
Yeah,
right?
I know you're all right, but stay down there. Come on, work with me here.
Brooks was too nice.
He still is one of the classiest guys. And also the head of our Major League Alumni Association.
You get a full display of him. You know, Clemente obviously, and you obviously took top billing in that '71 World Series, rightfully so, for what Clemente did offensively, what you did with 2 complete games. But Brooks Robinson was just unbelievable.
He was, and you know, he wasn't the quick. He was quick without looking like he was quick. He just always got it done. Always got it done.
Fly ball hit deep to right by Neil Walker. Off the wall. Walker will head to third base, and he'll make it with a triple standing.
Corey Hart got caught in between the wall and the ball, and then Neil Walker got the big bounce. You never know what kind of bounce you're going to get off this, but takes the breaking ball down and in. Right in that garden spot for those left-hand hitters. Didn't get quite enough lift, but got a lot of distance. It's that kind of bounce. And here's where he starts thinking 3. Okay, now we got 3. He sees the bounce, and he's gone. Running just like he did when he wore that Rams jersey. Ryan Richland.
Triple for Walker, his 4th 3-bagger of the season. Jones has hit a comebacker to the mound and fly to center. For Walker, by the way, we said this at the outset of the telecast. He and McCutchen struggling mightily against Brewers pitching. That's just Walker's 6th hit in 38 bats this season against the Brewers. And for Garrett Jones, he's just 2 for 24 against the Brewers this year. Diving stop by the big man, Prince Fielder. Robs Garrett Jones of a double with that dive to his left. the earthquake that was centered in Virginia. When that big guy comes down, the earth shakes. Prince Fielder.
Heck of a play. Almost went too far. That ball wound up back in toward the heel of the glove, but he gets it done. Top-notch play.
Plays with a lot of passion. He'll be paying for a lot of money next year.
Oh, he is going to back up the truck. He and Mr. Pujols.
You were saying?
I was saying they ought to. Wouldn't it be nice to get one of those big clocks? Remember at Forbes Field, we used to see pictures of the big Longines.
The Longines clock.
Big square clock on top of the scoreboard. I wonder how that would fit in this ballpark. I'm sure everybody knows that they fashioned the light standards after what they had at Forbes here at PNC.
Toothbrush style light standards. Tried to bring a part of Forbes Field at PNC Park.
What they didn't bring, fortunately, and everybody's happy about, we used to start our games there for a few summers at 8:15. Thinking that people would go home, have dinner, and come back.
Wow.
It didn't work all that well, but 8:15 starts.
There they are.
The great thing about this, too, and we've probably said it maybe too many times, but they positioned the lights in such a way they didn't need any from right field all the way around to left center field to interrupt the view of the skyline. They positioned them in such a way that view is not disrupted.
And honestly, that might be one of the reasons we don't see a big clock anywhere. They try to, at all costs, avoid any disruption from that great view.
Yeah. And people got cell phones now. They can tell what time it is. No, I don't know. Maybe we say it too much. I never get tired of looking at it. I know you don't. And
I don't.
Most people don't get too tired.
I'm tired of seeing the Brewers hitting. Yep. Lucroy singles. 8-2 Brewers here. Nissan the road ahead. Pirates and Brewers tomorrow, 12:35 first pitch, noon here on Root Sports. Then 4 games in St. Louis starting tomorrow night at 7:30. 2 games on Root. The Fox game on Saturday afternoon and Sunday at 1:30. Saw a story where the Fox ratings were outstanding at last Saturday game. Now Root Sports ratings are up. Attendance way up, already surpassing last year's mark. Folks buying Pirates merchandise, all kinds of Pirates caps and t-shirts and paraphernalia. And the Brewers certainly have experienced that as well as they got better. Estrada, another bunt. The second time. Make it the third time a sacrifice. The first time was a sacrifice, but reached second on the air by Domet. Domet's throw sailed into right. So Estrada 3 sacrifice bunts. He has certainly done a great job for Roenicke.
One of the other things, Greg, and you don't see it every day, but seeing on my ride into the ballpark from the South Hills, kids playing catch out in the yard with their Pirate paraphernalia on, and just seeing more of it.
Yep.
You've always seen a little bit of it, but a lot of it this year.
What happens, Steve, of course, no secret, as we said, you win, they come out,
it cures everything.
And kids start to play baseball again.
Right. And they say, hey, Dad, take me to see the Pirates, because they'd only heard about it. Now they want to see it. Fastball by Daniel McCutchen at 93 miles an hour. You get the kids interested, and you get the kids that want to go to the ballpark, then you're on the right track.
Along those lines, let's keep it right here, and you watch and listen to the folks as they enjoy A great, great baseball tradition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Tim DeBacco introduces it.
You now to stand and join everyone watching at home on Root Sports as we sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
And to the bottom of the 7th inning, the Brewers leading the Bucks by 6 here at PNC Park on Root Sports. Truly amazing pictures from the AGH cam, and that gentleman caught Josh Harrison's first big league home run. Who's happier, he or Josh Harrison?
Josh. Both happy.
Harrison will lead off the bottom of the 7th inning.
Marco Estrada happy as he continues his good work. Came into this game with 9 innings pitched against the Pirates, no runs, a couple of hits, and 10 strikeouts. So now in 15 innings against Pittsburgh, just 2 runs given up.
Josh Harrison's uncle, T-Bone Shelby, John T-Bone Shelby, who was a Pirate coach for a while, is now working on the staff of the Brewers. 0-1 the count on Harrison. One ball, one strike. He was picked in the 6th round in 2008 by the Cubs out of the University of Cincinnati. Pirates got Josh Harrison, pitchers Kevin Hart and Jose Ascanio. July 30th, 2009, they sent John Grabo and Tom Gorzolani to the Cubbies. McGee in. 1 up, 1 down in the bottom of the 7th. Brings up Ronnie Cedeno. Harrison's home run. And a 2-out single by Xavier Paul. He only runs off Marco Estrada. Pirates will see Sean Markham tomorrow. The Bucks probably, sounds like, going to send Aaron Thompson to the hill. 0-2 on Cedeno. This Rhysop loosens in the Bucco pen. That'll be a base hit. 2nd of the night for Cedeno. And so Matt Diaz will bat now. for McCutchen, Daniel McCutchen.
Greg, you got me thinking about clubhouses now. 1960, Keokuk, Iowa. Visiting clubhouse, Class D ball. They used to have a Class D ball back then. In the clubhouse, in the visiting clubhouse, after the game, there was one shower and the manager had a hose. You would take the shower and put the hose on you. And if you didn't have a good game, you didn't get hosed off very well.
Wow.
That's an honest to God story. Keokuk, Iowa.
I'm sure that was a clubhouse.
In the med. I didn't say which clubhouse.
Were there any bars around? I mean, you know the kind I mean.
No.
No, it was actually a clubhouse?
It was in the Midwest League, yep.
The manager grabbed a hose?
Yep.
All right, boys, time to grab the shower.
Yep. Who wants to go first? Played for the Dubuque Packers. Quite a bit different than the Green Bay Packers.
Going 2 on Diaz.
No more clubhouse stories.
Grab a shower, boys. I got the hose here. Fly ball to right. 2 outs. I'm going to need somebody to confirm this.
There's not many of us left.
$21,411 on hand.
Most of whom have never been to Keokuk.
Thankfully. Nice league.
Yep.
The D League.
Yeah. Went from the rookie league and Kingsport, Tennessee.
Joe Brown was the GM, right? Joe, where am I going?
Going to Keokuk. Right? No, you're going to Dubuque. Yeah. But one of the trips you're going to make is to Keokuk.
Can't wait. Shortstop, Betancourt, and on to second for the final out. We move to the 8th. Brewers scoring 7 in the second and lead it 8-2.
Mazda, zoom, zoom. Let's go, Bucks.
Buccos down. And Chris Resop will pitch the 8th. Pittsburgh trailing 8-2. Ohlendorf went 5, gave up 7, 4 of them earned. Daniel McCutchen 2, gave up a run, and now Resop to face Morgan, Braun, and Fielder. We invite you to take advantage of the Get Go Summer Value Pack. You get 4 outfield box tickets and a $20 Get Go gas card. All that for only $80. The Get Go Summer Value Pack available for every remaining Pirates home game. Go to pirates.com/summer value. Talking about the home schedule. Before you know it, fall, winter, and we urge you to go to pirates.com and look at that schedule. Take care of your baseball fix tomorrow afternoon, 12:35. And don't forget that home game that wasn't originally on the schedule, a makeup on Thursday, September 1st, afternoon of Thursday, September 1st against the Dodgers. The Pirates will complete that road trip and then back home, take on the Astros, Marlins, and Cardinals. And Nyjer Morgan with his 3rd hit tonight. He was 1 for 8 in the doubleheader last night. 3 hits tonight. You talk about a passion for the game. Pirate fans know Nyjer Morgan, the short time he was here in Pittsburgh. A little bit out of hand, it seemed, last year with the Washington Nationals. Some incidents that were, some thought, kind of bizarre, and that dealt to the Milwaukee Brewers, and they've had certainly no trouble with them. Although Ron Roenicke has talked about on occasion maybe having to on occasion just remind Nyjer perhaps to tone it down a bit.
Well, when he gets going, he is a spark plug. I mean, he's got speed, he's got that energy about him. Plus, it helps when you're hitting over 300.
Oh, yeah. That act wears thin if you're hitting 200. They've had some interesting celebrations, this Brewers club. A couple of years ago with Mike Cameron on the team. Cameron orchestrated the idea that after every win, all the players would untuck their uniforms. Cameron claimed it was because his father when he would come back home, he would untuck his shirt after a long, hard day's work. They don't do that anymore. I think Ken Maka pretty much put a stop. Well, of course, Cameron went on to the Boston Red Sox.
I don't think that would fly there.
It didn't. They didn't even attempt it there in Boston. And of course, the celebration on a walk-off home run by Prince Fielder a couple years ago, where everybody pretended to be bowling pins, that didn't go over well. And he and Ryan Braun have an orchestrated celebration after either homers. There's a fine line, right, Steve, between having too much fun and maybe showing up the other team.
Yeah, or just professionalism.
Yeah, professionalism.
And it is a thin line. I mean, you want to have the guys have fun and common sense. Have some fun, but keep it within those framework of being a major leaguer. I mean, it's all sports. You know, it's basketball, it's football, probably hockey the least.
Two on Braun. Braun 2 for 3. And he is behind Jose Reyes for the batting title. About 5 weeks left to go in the regular season. Draws the walk. A single and a free pass, and here is Fielder. We're talking about the celebration. This one didn't go over well at all. September 6, 2009 against the Giants. Prince Fielder's walk-off celebration. Talk about orchestrated.
They're pointing in.
Are y'all ready?
Yeah. Now that's beyond
Pale.
what you want to say. Yeah.
Well, the Giants, I guess their chance at payback was in spring training the following summer, because they didn't play, obviously, the Brewers again after that. And I believe it was Barry Zito, if I'm not mistaken, hit Prince Fielder with a pitch. First time he faced him in spring training. Sending a little message. Craig Counsell pinch running now for Braun. Counsell's one of those old school guys.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you
won't see much.
He's very
showing
much
off
in the
there.
framework of professionalism.
And the runners will break. The ball in the dirt.
Sliding away, getting a piece of the umpire's foot.
Fielder is going to be walked intentionally after the wild pitch. Most recently, these Brewers have taken to what they call making a beast gesture. Apparently made popular by Monsters Incorporated, and Prince Fielder talked about his son got him into that. Last year the Rangers used the antlers. Ron Roenicke talked about he wasn't thrilled with that either. Let's get some more on this from Dan Potash. Dan?
All right, Greg, thanks. Yeah, you may have noticed that after the Brewers get a big hit, that some of them will look back at their dugout and raise their arms as if they're trying to scare someone. Well, if you think that resembles the character Beast from the movie Monsters, Inc., you would be correct. Prince Fielder actually, as you said, began doing it, or going into beast mode because his kids enjoy the movie. So, like, does that work the same way for broadcasters? Like, Greg, if you have a really good call of a play, like a home run, do you stand up and look at Steve and go,
No, I don't. There's a liner to center. And the sacrifice fly as McGee brings home a run, makes it 9-2.
But Dan, it's not beyond the realm of possibility for Greg to start that.
No, yes it is. Now come on.
All right.
Andrew McCutchen, maybe this ball knuckled on him a bit.
Exactly, yeah. This line drive to center field. Break toward right center, and then adjusting to make the play.
One away. Vinieski Betancourt fouls that one off. Now, back in the day when you played, you guys didn't do any kind of gestures or anything like that, right?
No. Guy hits a home run, wait in the dugout, shake his hand.
After wins, did you all file onto the field? After every win?
Have you taken leave of your senses? No, it did not. Your clubhouse is where you celebrated. But times change. It has changed.
Well, I mean,
there was a pitcher we got late in his career, Greg. Walt Terrell did some good stuff with Detroit. A lot of good years. Came over here toward the end. Didn't have much left, and let his teammates know that that when he pitched well, yeah, I'll shake your hand. Yeah, we'll do all this if we win the ball game. Appreciate your support and your good thoughts there, but I don't get excited until the ninth inning is over. I kind of respected that. He didn't have much left, but he had that left.
Troy Hawkins, a veteran, loosens in the bullpen. Yeah, I do like that. That
Whoever, one of the great things, and you spin off that a little bit. I heard Bill Mazeroski telling some young players a couple of years ago, don't ever forget the name on the front of your uniform is more important than the name on the back.
Well, that's one of the things that Clint Hurdle talked about when he was named the manager. That's what he wanted to reincorporate. So really, the name on the back is almost meaningless. It's an opportunity for us to bring back the pride and the passion by keeping in mind what a great franchise this is, and
the professionalism too. That's I think I'm sure it's respected everywhere. I know it really is respected in this city. Being a major leaguer is much more than just playing in the big leagues.
Well, Dan was talking about, Dan Potash, about these celebrations. Ron Renicky was asked about it recently and saying that he doesn't want it to get carried away. He says, I don't like it in particular, but don't think I'm just going to come out and say don't do it again. But if he sees it get any worse, he said, it's going to be a problem. Then I'll talk to the guys about it. But he's old school.
But times have changed. And sometimes for the better. Sometimes you wonder a little bit.
I think Corey Hart was asked about it by someone, what he thinks about other teams not caring for it. He says, I think it's good if other teams don't like it. I guess he means by that, well, it means they're hitting a lot, they're winning.
When you're 6'6" and about 230 like Corey is, you're allowed to have your opinions.
Betancourt goes down. Check out some out-of-town scores from the Meadows Racetrack and Casino. The Marlins lead the Reds 5-2. Braves over the Cubbies. 8-0. The Dodgers lead the St. Louis Cardinals. Astros up by 1 at Coors. Diamondbacks have a 2-0 lead over the Nats. The Phillies, who shut out the Mets last night, 10-0 lead, 9-3. Tonight, the Giants host the Padres.
Looks like Mr. Kershaw is having a good start to his ball game against the St. Louis Cardinals. He's having quite a year, 15-5, with a ton of strikeouts. At one point, he was leading the National League in strikeouts.
Arizona Diamondbacks are looking to snap a 6-game losing streak. Their lead in the West is 1 game over the Giants. The Diamondbacks hoping that Justin Upton is going to be okay. He was hit in the elbow by a pitch in that game and was forced to leave. And how about Sean Burroughs fighting his way back? Admittedly partied too much for a while. One-time top prospect in baseball, returned this year to the Diamondbacks. Hit his first major league home run since 2005 tonight.
That was a long way back.
Son of former big leaguer Jeff Burroughs.
It's almost like a Josh Hamilton type story.
Yep. It's Ian Kennedy, by the way, pitching the shutout over the Nationals so far in that game. There's a son of a former big leaguer, a former Pirate. Great baseball family, the Hairstons. His brother Scott plays for the Mets. His dad, his grandfather played Major League Baseball. To believe that those links are so important. Talk about professionalism. These players that grew up in clubhouses thanks to their fathers or relatives. Hairston, Neil Walker, Jason Grilly.
You soak it all in, and for better or for worse, it can go either direction. But the ones that play the game right, that is passed on to their kids.
I believe his father is a hitting coach, if I'm not mistaken, in the White Sox organization. Former White Sox player Jerry Hairston Sr. and 1 year with the Bucks in the late 70s. His dad, of course, estranged for a long time.
Cecil.
His father, just like he, hit some prodigious home runs over his career. Many big years with the Tigers.
You know, a lot of it has to do with the atmosphere that you walk into when you come to the big leagues too. The type of team, the type of personalities, and you don't want to beat this to death because it's been well documented. That group that I came to the big leagues with in 1964, the Vernon Laws, the Bob Friends, the Mazeroskis, the Clementis, the Stargills, the Derry Lynches, the Dick Groats. I mean, they were major leaguers. They just didn't happen to play in the big leagues, and it was a great atmosphere to walk into, because if you just kept your mouth shut and watched the way they went around their business, I mean, you couldn't help but absorb some of that. It was just a bunch of good ball players that knew how to play the game, and I'm sure they weren't the only team like that, but that's the group I happened to walk in on.
Shortstop Cedeno on to first. Another run in for Milwaukee. 9-2. Has been placed on the 15-day disabled list, left shoulder inflammation. The Florida Marlins are going to play a doubleheader tomorrow to complete their series against the Reds, as they anticipate down there in South Florida Hurricane Irene making landfall. Arizona Diamondbacks acquire infielders Aaron Hill and John McDonald from the Blue Jays for Kelly Johnson. It's a pretty big disappointment this year for the Snakes. And the Rockies have acquired third baseman Kevin Kuzminoff for a player to be named later. The Rockies also, you may know, claimed Wandy Rodriguez off waivers from the Houston Astros. And now we'll see whether they don't make a deal with Houston. Got 48 hours to do that.
Harry Hairston stays in the ball game to play center field. Nigel Morgan moves from center to left. Got one more change in the infield. Yeah, Craig Counsell stays in the ballgame, plays second base, and the new pitcher is going to be LaTroy Hawkins. As Estrada departs after pitching 7 innings effectively, giving up a couple runs on 7 hits. He did not walk a batter and struck out 2.
Interesting, the Rockies acquire Kuzmanov. They put a claim into Rodriguez. They trade Ubaldo Jimenez to Cleveland. And fielder not going to get this ball hit off the bat of Xavier Paul. Into second base. The leadoff double.
Big man tries to make the same kind of play he made on Garrett Jones, but this time can't get there.
Lefties hitting just 172 against LaTroy Hawkins. They don't have a left-handed pitcher in their bullpen. They use Hawkins often to get the lefties. It's just the 12th hit allowed by Hawkins in 65 at-bats to a left-hand hitter. Strike 1 on McCutchen.
You see a good bit of LaTroy Hawkins with the Cubs, didn't we?
He bounced around, was tried as a closer. Never worked out. It's always his career has shown better for him in this setup role.
And it keeps that ball hidden when he goes to the stretch, turns the body a little bit, make it a little tougher for batters to pick him up. Pick up where he's delivering the ball from.
Now 38 years old. Came to the big leagues with the Twins. A couple of years tried as a closer, then acquired by the Cubs, as Steve said, and saved 25 games for Chicago back in 2004.
See him take that ball in the glove back on the hip.
Hawkins in his second season with Milwaukee. Missed a lot of last year. Time on the DL. Bounce to third. McGee throws out Andrew McCutchen.
Tough one for the Pirates tonight. When you fall behind 7-0 early, just a couple runs for the Bucks.
Hairston looking at scouting report on each player.
It's interesting. There's a future coach or manager working.
Nyjer Morgan in left. For the second out. Bucks with 8 hits. Neil Walker, one of them, a triple off the wall and right in the 6th.
I was heading out of the ballpark last night, Greg, on the elevator, and I ran into Josh Wilson's family. Said hello, and then I had a chance to stop in the clubhouse. Say hello to Josh. He said not quite the return he wanted to have here at PNC Park, but he's still playing big league baseball and making stops in his hometown.
Playing now on a pennant contender. Yep. After the last couple of years with the Mariners organization. And Josh Wilson spent a little bit of time in the Pirates minor leagues.
So for a while it was Josh and Jack out there, Seattle.
Yep. The Wilson boys at times were in the starting lineup, playing up the middle. Jack Wilson, currently on the disabled list with the Mariners. Local products, Pittsburgh natives playing in the big leagues. Neil Walker for the Pirates, Josh Wilson now for the Brewers. Don Kelly, Neil Walker's brother-in-law, homered last night as the Tigers won again.
Good to see him doing well.
Yeah, fabulous guy. Talking about character people. Top-notch pro, Don Kelly. And a base hit for Walker, his second. RBI for Neil Walker, his 74th of the season.
Just taking that low pitch and just sliding it through the hole between third and short. Pretty good pitcher's pitch that turns into an RBI single.
Walker, 74 runs batted in. Last year as a rookie, drove in 66. To wonder if Tabata hadn't gotten hurt, and even Presley later, where the offense started to take off, not from a power standpoint, but getting on base a lot for about a 3.5 to 4 week stretch in the middle of the summer. How many RBIs Walker would have had with more opportunities? How many will he get last 5 weeks of the season? Now at 74 for the year. Tabata tonight 1 for 4, extending his hitting streak to 9 straight games. Now with 8 hits in his last 17 at bats. It'll be interesting to see where Clint Hurdle fits everybody in the rest of the way. When Presley returns, when Chase Darno comes back. Some of the positions, going to get to that point, I'm sure, in September. We've talked about it in the last couple of years. You start to put the puzzle together where everybody fits in. You know, you have the center fielder McCutchen. You know, you have Walker at second. You have to figure Tabata in right field. The Pirates have talked about that. Hopefully Alvarez gets it going in Indianapolis the last few weeks. He's at third.
Yeah, that's a big factor,
yep.
Because you want it to be Pedro, but you've got to make sure that it's going to happen. Because September, you want to get some answers in September that you can take to Bradenton in March.
And the tough thing about that, Steve, as always, we say it every year, that you try and get some answers in September, but you have to really temper it, because this ball bounces past fielder toward the right field corner and gets past Corey Hart. So Jones will wind up at third base, and it's 9-4. He gives a triple to Garrett Jones and an RBI for him, bringing home Walker.
Garrett will take it. He doesn't get many triples.
Nope.
But you get some funny things. You hit some baseballs down into corners, all kind of bounces and caroms and problems for right and left fielders. That shouldn't have been a problem for Corey Hart, but became one.
Isn't baseball crazy sometimes? We talked about the numbers. LaTroy Hawkins against left-handed batters coming into this outing allowed 11 in 64 at bats, and here in this inning, Paul, Walker, and Jones with hits off of him. So left-hand hitters are 3 for 4 against him in this inning alone.
Go figure.
4th career triple for Garrett Jones. And it's his first of 2011. He got the rally caps on. Just going back to the thought there about September. Pedro Alvarez, for example, did great work in August and September. But that doesn't automatically mean that it's going to carry over into the following year, no matter really what these guys do in September. It's such a long year.
They really temper September, too. You might be hitting them against other call-ups. But it helps you kind of try to sort things out.
Better than spring training.
Yes. Spring training is a mess.
And they also take each at bat almost with a lot of scrutiny, depending on whether you're playing a playoff team, what type of pitcher you're facing. And here's talk about the numbers of LaTroy Hawkins. Talking about the minor leagues there, Jameson Taillon of the West Virginia Power, 5 innings, a hit, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Pirates' #1 pick last year.
5 innings, 5 strikeouts. That's good.
Outs to short, backhanded Bettencourt on to first to retire the side. Pirates get 2, trail 9-4. Just going back to some news and notes about the minor leagues. Good to see Alex Presley with 2 more hits tonight, and his batting average up to .332 at AAA Indy. Chase d'Arnaud is 1 for 3 with an RBI at AAA Indy this evening. And Presley had a stolen base, as did Chase d'Arnaud. Part of their game. Stetson Alley threw a scoreless inning tonight for State College, the Spikes. Pirates' 2nd round pick last year. But here in the big leagues, Pirates gave up 7 runs in the 2nd inning. Ross Ohlendorf tagged with those 7, 4 of them earned. Playing behind all night long, just not able to catch up. Down 5.
Well, the buzz last year, Alley and Taillon, you're going to have a real severe buzz about Mr. Garrett Cole.
You know, Steve, if he goes, this is speculation, if he goes and pitches in the Arizona Fall League, and say he pitches like Mike Leake did a couple of years ago. Mike Leake came out of spring training last year and made the Reds roster and contributed to their National League Central Division title.
He was 8-4 without playing any minor league baseball.
We talked to Neil Huntington on his show on Sunday, and he says, I'm not going to say anything about it. Essentially, he says, I'm not going to say yes or no because I don't want to speculate and put too much pressure on anybody, but I won't discount the idea that it could happen.
Well, the thing is, consider you're playing out there in that level of college baseball. They're playing the equivalent of a short minor league season. So, you know, you almost can think that he's had somewhat of a minor league career already.
It will be fun to track him.
Just saw another name that you're going to need to find out about, Sanchez in Altoona.
Yeah.
He's going to be getting some consideration where his future takes him.
Sanchez trying to come back from that broken jaw last year that cost him almost the entire season. The catching situation will be a big decision for the Pirates. Into center, 15 hits. Kotsay joins the hit parade off the bench. And now Corey Hart. Brewers had 11 hits, scored 8 runs in game 1 of the doubleheader last night. Just 4 hits in the nightcap as the Pirates won it 9-2. But they've out hit the Bucks 15-10 in this one.
Going over different positions. Shortstop, will it be Ronnie Cedeno next year?
Yeah, Cedeno or d'Arnaud. Would they go that route or somewhere else? Starting pitching, Steve, is also going to be a question. What's the rotation going to look like next year? What's going to look like the rest of this season? Paul Maholm is out.
Correa out. Ohlendorf trying to get back in.
Lincoln will stay in the rotation, presumably for the rest of the season. Talking to Paul Maholm today on our pregame show about his status. He says, I'd like to push myself, but I'm not going to do anything stupid. Don't want to risk anything. And of course, he has that option on the contract. I'm not sure what his future holds. We're just playing Pepper right now. Lined into center field, second hit for Corey Hart. Big night for the Brewers bats. A lot of smiles for the offense. Brings up Nyjer Morgan. He has a 3-hit night. 16 hits for Milwaukee.
And we're going to do it again tomorrow at 12:30.
Wondering what the rotation for next year, the rest of this season. How about tomorrow? Assume it'll be the left-hander Aaron Thompson. Here comes Ray Searage, Pirates bullpen, getting up again. Clint Hurdle's talked about Chris Rhysop not being as crisp lately. And here in his second inning of work, he's allowed 3 hits, 2 walks so far, and a run. Aaron Thompson is with the club. He was with the Pirates in spring training, a former first-round pick of the Marlins. We do know Sean Markham goes for the Brewers tomorrow.
He will be a challenge at 11-3 on the season.
Nyjer Morgan lined out his first at bat, singled driving in a run in the second and scored. He started the fourth inning off with a base hit to right, flied out to center in the sixth, then started the eighth inning with a base hit to center and scored. And lines this toward right center field. What a night for Nyjer Morgan. This will drive in a run, a double, as Nyjer Morgan brings home Kotsay and a 10 spot on the board. 4 hits for Morgan.
Ouch. Brewers got that 7th spot and just continued to add on a pretty regular basis.
Craig Counsell's first at bat tonight. Ryan Braun in this spot was 2 for 3. Walked, scored a pair, walked twice, drove in a pair. Now the veteran Counsell. Brewers have gone 23-4 since July 26th. Since July the 6th, they're 32-11. Best record in Major League Baseball.
Although that juggernaut that is the Philadelphia Phillies not far behind. Well, in that particular category, but overall the Phillies, unbelievable.
Craig Counsell deep right. You can't hit a ball much further than that. That'll be a sacrifice fly. And Counsell showing some disappointment, actually. Thought he might have had his first home run. Instead, it's a sacrifice fly. 11-4 ball game. Counsell thinks, okay, here's my first one. Get that monkey off my back. And then
not to be.
Well, they love him in that dugout. They love him in Milwaukee.
Pretty much everywhere he's played. A couple championship rings.
Oh, that 0-for-45 streak he had, Steve, earlier this year, which tied Bill Bergen of the 1909 Brooklyn Dodgers and Dave Campbell, who played for 3 teams in 1973 for the longest single season hitless streak by a position player in modern Major League history.
Soup. Nickname for Dave Campbell, a broadcasting career after his playing days.
Brewers putting a thumping on the Pirates tonight. Fielder pops it up, and in disgust he throws his bat away. For the final out. 2 more runs. 11-4.
starts or pitches out of the bullpen. You know, I'm sure no stories have already been written or tweeted that Aaron Thompson here is going to start tomorrow. I'm sure that couldn't have happened. So, you know, we've got a couple other guys we might start and then use Aaron out of the bullpen. He's built up to about 50 pitches, 55 pitches. The last 3 times he's out, it's been 55, 50, 45 pitches. So there's a very good chance that he will be put in play.
About tomorrow's potential starter. Pirates don't want to name Aaron Thompson till after the game. Thompson, again, the left-hander, who was on the 40-man roster. Pirates claimed him off waivers from the Washington Nationals in December. Former first-round pick of the Florida Marlins. Mark Kotsay stays in the ballgame to play first. The new pitcher Cameron Lowe. And Thompson has spent most of this year in the minor leagues. Was actually taken off the 40-man. June the 24th, he was designated for assignment. Bucks re-signed him. Cedeno, a couple of hits. $11 runs, 17 hits for Milwaukee, 4 runs, 10 hits for Pittsburgh.
You're talking about the Phillies. The final in Philadelphia, they beat the Mets 9-4, 83 wins with several days left to go in the month of August. Potential 100-win season for the Phils.
That's for sure. Lost Cole Hamels to the DL with shoulder discomfort today. Probably not going to slow them down all that much. So they roll here. Betancourt has 15 errors this season. Will give Cedeno his 3rd hit of the night.
Not getting the glove down. AGH camera tells all. No escape.
Wood bounces this ball to short. Double play. .643 DP. And Jose Tabata will come to the plate. 2 outs and no one on.
Got the feeling everybody's ready to get on the other side of this contest.
One for 4 night for Tabata. Just foul. Tabata base hit in the 5th to extend his hitting streak to 9 straight games. Not many bright spots tonight, that's for sure.
Need to get Jose to get another knock just to get that good feeling of going. But
nope, not tonight. Thank you very much. Final score of 11-4. Good old-fashioned drubbing as the Pirates saw Nyjer Morgan come back and collect 4 hits. drive in a pair. The story was the second inning. Yeah, Uncle is right. Trying to get a W tomorrow to conclude the homestand and earn a split. Pirates post game coming up next.